if you notice that there's certain situations where you seem to have a lot of joy and the rest of life not, my bet is if you look at the chapter, there's a section in Outsmarting Yourself that basically has a bunch of real specific questions that help you figure out whether your relational circuits are on or not, and that kind of overlaps with triggering, whether you're triggered and whether your relational circuits are on. And the places where you notice that you have joy, I can 98% confident that if you look at those questions, that's where your relational circuits are on. And you're feeling connected and you're getting joy from being with people. And if you look at the situations where you don't have that experience, it may be subtle, which is a very good point. The real dramatic flaming ones are easier to spot. But a lot of us, especially in first world, where we're fairly high functioning and life from day to day isn't as intensely chaotic and insane, you can be subtly, there'll be subtle triggers kind of smoldering in the background. And your relational circuits are dimmed mostly off. They're not just blacked out, which is easier to spot, but they're subtly off, and that's soberingly common. You can learn how to live with just barely any glimmer from your relational circuits, mostly about what you know you're supposed to do and how to choose to be obedient and focusing on behavior and appearance and tasks and rules without just the joy flowing from the inside. And a sobering amount of Christians and non-Christians do that. And I'll just offer this, test this. I offer this as a hypothesis, or as I think it's accurate. You notice the places where you have joy, and your circuits will be on, and the places you don't, and you look at that. You look at those. There's 3 chapters in there with different questions. You go over down those questions, and 98%, I'll bet you will find it could be subtle, but they'll be off. The places you don't have joy. Mm-hmm. And the thought about that, is it possible that with children, that's where you're not triggered and your circuits are on? Kids they're so unique in so many ways. As far as being more open, less offended, less threatening, it makes sense to me in about 10 different ways. Very possible that all your subtle, complicated internal psychological algebra, the result is that's a place where your circuits come on. Makes complete sense. Mm-hmm. Good pickup. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'll log that one. I'm sure I can apply that in about 10 more places. Yeah. Huh.
I notice in myself being subtly non-relational when, say I've just had an interaction with somebody and then maybe the person needed some sort of, say, pastoral care, and I kind of tried to do the best that I could, but then I see them interacting with somebody else, and I'm struck by how much more effective at comforting that other person was than me. And what strikes me is that I then realize, I really wasn't actually interacting with them from my heart. I was sort of trying, what does a pastor do right now? Or something more from by the book, you might say. And I realize I don't resort to trying to be by the book unless there isn't any just intuitive something coming from my heart. And why is there not something intuitive, something coming from my heart? Because I'm not actually fully relational right now, and that the pipeline has been choked down to almost nothing. Can't hear anything, okay, got to go by the book, you know. Yeah. And so it's not not like I'm then like saying mean things to the person, but lack of creativity to come up, or to hear the spirit, or just sort of thing. I mean, I watch it and I'm thinking, that was the most natural, comforting, sort of appropriate whatever to say or to do, or just to not say anything, just to sit there. Why didn't I think of that? And I'm thinking, I've got to write down 5 more rules. When this is the situation, you should remember to do that. This would be a good thing. And going down to completely, you can never have a rule book big enough to write down all those situations and what you should have said. But if you're just connected to your heart and connected to Jesus through the Spirit, then what you have, you will get in the moment, like the Scripture says, but not if you're choking it off.
It's good.